Welcome to the New Author Podcast, a weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich Kacy. Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone. I stumbled there because my dog's in the front room looking out the curtain. And if I'm not up there with him, he will bark and cry and desperately want to go outside and bark. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's crying like crazy right now. No. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the New Author Podcast. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff. Today is Monday, July 27th in the outline, 2025. This is episode number 320 episodes of this podcast. As I said, I'm Jerry Evanoff, and with me is Rich Kacy. Rich, how are you today?
I'm doing well, but I discovered something this weekend. I discovered I am a unicorn in the library world because, ever since I've been at this job, it's been a year and 3 months now, I've been kind of needling people and working on people to, be more carefree, be a little more, friendly with patrons and to joke around with them and stuff and, getting mixed results. So this weekend I had some free time since I was off for a 3-day weekend. I said, well, I'm going to go stop at some of the other branches and see what they are like. And I got to tell you, librarians as a group are some of the most grumpiest people I have ever met.
Wow.
No smiles, actually not really wanting to help you. It's like you're bothering them when you come in with a question.
Really?
Because I was just pretending to be a patron. Yeah. And I'm sure that's not like that everywhere, but the branches I stopped in at, it was kind of like that. I told my boss today, my big boss, that it's really sad. I mean, they need to put these people through some kind of customer service training or something. I don't know.
You were like undercover boss. This
yeah,
is awesome.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I was. I didn't even think about it that way. But yeah. So I'm a unicorn, which I'm totally comfortable with. The other thing we've got some guy. So we got nuts constantly down here in the deep south. It's got some guy going around exercising his First Amendment rights by putting a mask on his face and a headband on his head so you can't tell, or a headscarf on his head so you can't tell anything about him, and coming into branches and videoing people, videoing the employees and all that kind of stuff. And so they came around today, the boss did, and said, okay, this is how you have to handle it. He's allowed to do this and all that. And I just looked at her and go, can I make faces?
He's the star of his video.
Yeah, it cracked her up, because everybody's so worried about this stuff. And I go, well, I can't wait for him to come in because number one, I'm gonna make faces at him. But number two, I'm gonna ask him what kind of a coward hides behind a mask when he's doing this stuff.
Jesus.
Just go ahead, video it. I also want to find out that he's carrying around an iPhone on a one of those selfie sticks. I'm going to tell him, no, you're doing it all wrong. I know the iPhone has some video stabilization, but you really need is a gimbal and go around and do it. I can't wait to needle this guy when he comes in.
You'd think that like, other than like waiters and waitresses, you would think that like librarian would be the type of person that works there is the type of person that wants to work with people.
Yes, you would. And that's why I'm kind of, these, the hours are kind of grueling and, the pay is not great. So I can kind of see, but I got a feeling it's more related to the fact that people that want to be around books and libraries are mostly introverts. And in kind of the classic introvert definition, which is, not, being with people draws energy from me, but it's more like, I just don't want to be with people. Right. More of a, not misogynist, but, what do they call it? Misanthrope. Yeah, just don't like people all that much. Mm-hmm. And I'm an introvert in the being with lots of people draws energy from me, and I have to have time to recoup. But I can put on a good face and joke around with them, except for today, which they were holding the children's end of summer reading program party, and we had a bouncy castle outside, we had a bouncy castle inside, we had a face painter, we had kids running all over the place. So that started at 4:30, and luckily I was off at 6 because I think it's supposed to run till 7:30 or 8 tonight. So,
wow, nice.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have any of that. We have a thunderstorm getting ready to go overhead. It's another thing that's gonna drive my dog crazy. He'll be in here somewhere, I'm sure, laying at my feet at some point.
I wish we had one of those because the heat index today was 110. So
Oof. We weren't that high, but we were close. But we weren't.
Yeah.
We basically have the south weather. That's the heat we've had over the last couple of maybe 6-8 weeks, where it's been super hot and humid, and then sometime in the afternoon we get a storm. Like when I lived in Florida in '97, it was the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we have.
Yeah, it's pretty much subtropical weather, and it's just kind of crept up north with climate change and everything. So
yeah. So all right, let us get started here. I'm going to run into my stats first, and I really don't have any stats. I can start with my goal. My goal that I set last Wednesday, so 5 days ago, was to finish the plotting for book 9, which I was able to succeed at. But it was very much last minute. I'll talk about it as I go, but it was like, okay, after work today, I got one more chapter to do, and I want to do it so that I can tell people that I succeeded at my goal. So, and I did. So, in terms of my word count, nothing new. Book 9 still sitting at 4,333. For the year, I'm still at 108,823 on the way to 145,000. My words per hour stayed at 1,285.
Yeah, and me, I was completely stuck in neutral because I had a 3-day weekend, and of course, didn't even see the a pen or paper or the computer during that 3-day weekend. And on the bookends of that, on Thursday and today, I'm just captivated by this with a cosmic horror series that I'm reading. So every spare minute, I'm reading that. I think I mentioned last time I had finished the Beneath the Rising, and I had started a new. Actually started and finished one and started a new one. I'll mention what they are a little bit later. So my book, the Cozy Mystery book, is just stuck in neutral at 298 words, and my total for the year is still 154,554 words.
All right. Well, let me jump into my recap. Again, it's going to be a shorter podcast because it's only a 5-day recap instead of 7-day. Thursday, so I'm working through not a production error. That's what I put in the sheet. That's not the right way to put it. I was working through some production issues. I'm trying to get something working a certain way, and it's giving me a little bit of trouble. And it's a whole correction versus QA thing that I did not expect. So I really did not get much time to write or to plot on this day. I did get it finished pretty close to lunch, but I did want to work on it, make sure it's working fine before shutting my laptop down for my lunch break. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and write book 9 in Scrivener. I think last week I said I was going to write it in Novel Crafter and just kind of finish the series in Novel Crafter, then go back to Scrivener when I'm ready to edit. But I actually did decide to go ahead and put book 9 into Scrivener. I only had 3 chapters written, so it was really, really easy to cut and paste. So big lightning, sorry. I'm distracted by shiny things, especially when it's lightning. So I did decide it was easy to cut and paste and get the book set up. I already have a template in Scrivener that I use for new books anyway that has, folders for each section of the 3-act structure with like a section for the first chapter. Then you have like the inciting incident, and then I have like the up to what's it called, pinch point 1, and then I have all the way to midpoint. I have all those sections already ready, and I have some documents where I put character stuff and plot stuff. So I built a template after I wrote book 2 of what I wanted to look like, and I've been using it in Scrivener when I was using Scrivener. So it was really easy for me to just make a copy of the template, call it book 9, and then start pasting everything in there. Right. So I did that at lunch. Not much of anything else. I did start updating my story grid. This was a big deal. I really needed to do this. I usually was kind of flake on this about halfway through it when I'm first plotting before I'm writing. And this time I had to do it because the story, and I'll say this again later, but the story is like a giant puzzle where I have all these pieces from previous books and a whole bunch of stuff from this book. And I've got to get them into the center, and I've got to get them all fitting together properly. And it's really complicated. So I want to keep that story grid updated with all the subplots. I didn't get very far with it, but I was able to get a little bit going with it. In the evening on Wednesday, it took me about 2 hours to play this new baseball game that I bought. I watched people on YouTube play it in like 45 minutes, but it was the first time I'd ever played it. I didn't read the directions. I just dove in and tried to do what I saw on YouTube. And obviously I had to go to the instruction manual a bunch of times. That took me about 2 hours. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I'm going to play it, but I'm not a huge baseball guy. But it was fun. I mean, and I'll play it again at some point.
Let me ask a question before you go on. Are you getting the sense that you haven't put together enough pieces and you left too many of them for this book 9? Are you going to have to go back earlier in the series and put pieces together that that might make more sense to do it earlier, or are you comfortable?
100%.
Oh, okay.
No. In fact, what I did in I should open this Scrivener. I'm going to open it anyway because I want to talk to you about it. So what I did was where are we at? We're on. Let me get to I think Friday. We'll talk about when we get to Friday, because I have a whole thing that I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday. So then on Friday I worked from home. This was going to be a half a day. The thing that I had been working on a week at work, I was able to get finished and sent off to people I need to send it off to. That was kind of a weight off my shoulders. It was great. I was so happy to have it done, and then I logged off at 11 a.m., which is great. So where am I at? So I went to Buffalo Wild Wings. That's another thing you're going to hear a couple times. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and while I was there, I was going to start plotting the next chapters. And I actually sat down. All I have left is 16 to 22. I already written 23 to the end, which was like 23 to 27, the climax, the second one. The climax. I had to fill in that blank, kind of the action section of this book, which is 16 to 22. I really didn't know what to do with it. I was trying to figure out, why don't I know what to do with it? And the real reason was because I didn't understand this giant global conspiracy that was taking place way before the series even started. And it's the reason that I have Sam's parents getting killed is because of this giant global conspiracy. And I didn't understand it. I knew, and it reminded me of like when I watched those mysteries, like if I watched like a Murder, She Wrote, and there's like these concrete conspiracies, and then there's like these money laundering ones where there's wire transfers and money moving around, and there's all these bad guys. I never understand that when I'm watching it on the TV. I don't know if you do, but I never really understand it because it's too abstract for me. But I wanted that to be this because I had an idea for who I wanted to be the head of it and how I wanted people to be connected to it. But I just didn't understand it. So I went to ChatGPT and started asking it questions. I was doing a little more research, but it was mostly ChatGPT, just asking questions about how these people should fit together. And it would give me a whole bunch of suggestions. And I might like one of them and hate everything else. And I might change something and then say, let's do it this way instead. It was like ChatGPT was like my starting point for ideas. And then I would kind of work off of it. Right. I think at one time I just told it, I don't like any of your ideas, but please give me more so I can see if anything pops into my head based on what I'm reading, which is kind of how it worked.
Right.
And by the time I was done, I did have the giant conspiracy pretty much written down on paper. I understand the components. I understand how it's working back and forth, why the people do what they do. And, each character had their own role. I had this kind of a thing ready to go, which was great because that once I understood that, I could continue working through the rest of the plot to put everybody where they needed to go. So at one point, I even changed the murderer to be somebody else. I changed it to be the guy who was at the head of the conspiracy. And then after about 15, 20 minutes, I was like, no, that's too obvious. I'm going to keep it. Think of like a giant, like a pitchfork, right? You've got the post here and then three branches coming off of it. So the head of it's at the top of the pitchfork, and then there's three different components as the three different tongs, or whatever you call it, of the pitchfork. And I want somebody in one of the tongs to be the murderer for this. The reason that you would expect, which is Sam's dad was asking too many questions, and this person said, "I don't want my money to dry up," and they went out.
Okay.
So a lot of work there, really no plotting at all, just a lot of work on that. And by the time I was ready to leave, I think I had 95% of it done, not finished with it completely, but finished with it enough to where I just had to fill in a couple of details, which was great. I mean, I did no plotting, but I was able to get that part done, which was harder than the actual plotting itself, coming up with the puzzle. So then I went to Best Buy and bought a $150 brand new air fryer because mine died last week. I bought it for $24.
Oh, wow.
Which was fantastic. I'm a Best Buy member, so I paid $50 when I bought a laptop to be a Best Buy member. And I said, okay, let's see what happens. I didn't know what you got from it. So when I found the $150 air fryer, walked over to the counter, and the guy rung it up, and it was $107. And I go, did you add some of my discounts? He's like, no, that's the price for Best Buy Club members. I'm like, oh, $43 off. Okay. So the $50 almost paid for it. Then I had gift cards and some cash back for buying a laptop, and it cost me like $24.
Wow. Nice.
And I was very happy about that. I actually used it tonight. It was great. So, and then I came home, played my golf game, and went up early, got up early to go golf. I got up at 4:45, ready to go, and then I started getting texts from everybody that I was golfing with saying they're not coming. It's thundering and lightning. It's 45 minutes northeast of me is where it is, and more north than northeast, like northeast, I guess you would say. And actually, it's pretty much straight north now that I said it. But a lot of the guys that I golf with live just west of the course, and they're like, it's thundering and lightning here. It's not good. We're not going. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm up at 4:45. I've already showered. I'm probably not going back to sleep. So I just kind of hung out and watched YouTube if it was an evening with the dog for about 2 hours. And then I took a shower, and around 8:30 I left for Chick-fil-A. Treated it like a winter month Saturday where I'm not golfing, so I get up and go to Chick-fil-A for breakfast. I walked in, and Big Ed, the guy one of the managers there, he's over on the edge of the counter, and there's a girl. She walks up and she's like, "Can I take your order?" And Big Ed just yells, "He'll have a chicken bowl. He'll have an extra sandwich with it and a Coke." And I just went, "Yeah, that's pretty much what he said." So I got to find a new place to go. So then after I ate my breakfast, I spent some time now updating my story grid with all these new pieces, adding a column to the story grid added a column to the story grid that I just called conspiracy. And this was chapter by chapter, what pieces were being introduced into the story that had to do with the conspiracy. Basically, it's kind of a giant web. My characters my character is putting everything together little by little. Mm-hmm. And by the midpoint, he's got it almost figured out. He still doesn't know who killed his dad, but he's got the conspiracy worked out, which is good. After that, I started working on the plotting of the next set of chapters. I was able to get 16 and 17 done, and then the first scene of 18. So all I have left now is 18 to 22. And then in the evening, I came home, played my football game, and hung out until bedtime. We'd already decided we weren't golfing the next day for the same reason, thunderstorms and stuff in the mornings up there. So I did not get to golf at all this weekend. Very sad. I'm a little bit worried about tomorrow night, actually, for my league, because it's supposed to rain again tomorrow night. So I don't know if I'm going to go golf tomorrow night or not either, which is disappointing. In the evening, because I wasn't golfing the next morning, I stayed up a little bit later than normal. Then I popped half a Tylenol PM and went to bed and slept until like 7:15. It was great. So, I did do a cooking show on my Snapchat. I made these burritos. The recipe my mom sent me. Are you familiar with Natasha's Kitchen? It's a YouTube channel and probably a whole business and stuff. It's a pretty popular, I know it's a YouTube channel, but I'm sure she's got books and stuff. My mom sent me one for burritos where I real quick, I'll just go through this. I took a pound of ground beef, cooked it in the pan. I have my own fajita seasoning recipe that I made. So I have fajita seasoning, dumped it in there. And then after the meat was done, I dumped in a diced tomato. I dumped in a half a can of black beans and a half a can of red beans. You can also put onions in there, but I don't like onions, so I didn't do that. So I mixed it all up in the bowl. Then I took a 10-inch tortilla, put some cheese on it, took about a cup of the meat mix, and put it in there. Then some more cheese. Then I folded up the burrito. Right, I actually made 6 of them. Put 5 of them in the freezer, and then I fried the edges of the 6th one and cut it in half. Ate it. It's fantastic. I actually ate it for dinner the last 3 nights. It's so good.
I thought this was going to be more of a story like John Scalzi tells on his Blue Sky channel. He's known as the Burrito Man. It's because he makes burritos out of everything.
Okay,
like he will have leftover chicken pot pie and make a burrito out of it.
Oh, that sounds something great. I do like anything in a tortilla shell. I'm with that.
Yeah.
That's with that. So
a lot of people think that he commits crimes against nature with some of these burritos. But,
oh God, that sounds good actually. All right, so then on Sunday, my real only option on Sunday morning is Panera, and I've said this before. I'm not a huge fan of their food. I wish there was something else around here that was open for breakfast where I was comfortable sitting and writing, because there's a couple of restaurants that are nice, but you walk into a restaurant where a server has 4 tables, the last thing I'm gonna do is sit in one of her tables for 2.5 hours.
Right.
Take up the space. So there's not a whole lot of good spaces. So I decided, since I didn't have to, I wasn't gonna go to Panera. I just kind of hung out in the morning. I joined a fantasy football game. I played my fantasy football draft, slow draft. It's going on right now. Actually, it'll take about 7 to 10 days. I played some of my golf game in the morning and just kind of hung out doing nothing. And then around 10:30, I left for Buffalo Wild Wings again. And while I was there, I plotted 18, 19, and 20. And this is the other thing that I wanted to do. So I worked really, really hard. This is what I'm talking about. I worked really hard on the thing that would give away to my main character who the murderer was. Like concrete proof is what I'm looking for here. And I did something a little bit different here where, this is a 9-book series. There are 2 short stories and 2 novellas as part of it that are going to be free giveaways. So, if For the people out there who aren't sure, I have 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 7.5, 8, 9. That's how it's doing. So there's a lot of books there. And I wanted to come up with something, and I had my characters looking at pictures at one point, and they see a picture of. Actually, what I did was I had my character looking at the items that were collected in the car wreck of his parents, and one of the things that was found was a watch with a silver band and a red button. And I thought, well, I really like this. I like the idea of this watch. He can be looking at the picture. He can see the person in the picture not wearing the watch. If you go one picture from the previous day, she is wearing the watch, and that same watch is found. It's distinctive. It's a distinctive watch, so it's found in the evidence. This is perfect. But then I thought, but I can't put that at the beginning of book 9 because the person will be reading, oh yeah, okay, watch the red button. 17 chapters later, oh, she's not wearing a watch with a red button. It's easy. It gives it away, no problem at all. Right? Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did was, and I want to get your opinion. I asked my mom and dad this earlier, but my mom is too literary, and my dad, he wouldn't read a book if I wrote it or my sister wrote it because he never read any of our books. So I said to them, what I want to do is I want to plant a whole bunch of clues in the previous book. So, for example, in book 0.5, when the parents are still alive, there's going to be a reference made to Sam's mom, where she says something like, "Oh, honey, I don't wear a watch. They do something that I don't like."
Yeah,
something like that.
She's
and then in book,
allergic to it. Turns her wrist green.
Yeah. So, I might use that actually.
Yeah.
In book, boy, I have it up here because I wrote it down. Here it is. I have a Scrivener file called Things to Edit into Earlier Books. So that's book 0.5. Book 2 or book 3, Sam is talking to his officer Beaumont, his buddy, about his parents' case. And at the time, he's not really interested in looking into it. He's just kind of talking. And this is where the items that were left in the car wreck. This is the items that were collected from the car. This is where they come up. And one of the items is a watch, along with other things. It's going to be mentioned among with other things. He will mention that it was a silver watch. He won't say anything about the red button. He'll just say it was a silver watch. And Beaumont will just say something that probably belonged to your dad. It's like a functional type. It's techy, nothing fancy. And Sam's going to be like, well, my dad wore one of those fancy smartwatches. He didn't have anything like that. You think someone dropped it in there when they tampered with the car? And Beaumont will say, well, maybe we didn't find any evidence of tampering. Maybe it was just their mechanic. Maybe it was service. And this guy, he dropped it in there. So we're trying to make it seem like it's a guy's watch. Trying to do that in that book.
Okay.
All right. So then book 4, Sam and Beaumont they're in a stakeout. And they're just chatting, and Sam's going to bring up the items left in the car in the evidence again, and he's going to bring up the watch again, but this time he's going to mention the red button. And then in book 6, Sam and Danny are going to say something. They're going to have a conversation early on, and she's going to say something about wearing a watch, how she hates it because of this reason. And Sam says, "Oh, my mom was the same." And that's all. That's all I'm going to do with it. That's it. Those are the items I'm going to seed into previous books, hoping that when the watch comes up in the picture in book 9, in chapter 17 or 18 of book 9, maybe 1 or 2 readers will remember it because these books are coming out pretty, 6-8 months far apart from each other, whatever,
right.
However it's going to work. And I'm wondering, in your opinion, is that a good strategy? Do you think that's cheating the reader? Do you think it's like, well, you're planting all these evidence in books that they're going to read years before? Does that matter? Because I'll talk about what I did after that in a second. But I'm curious of your opinion.
No, I don't think that matters. That's good seeding. I think you're being a little bit too revealing in book 2 when was it Sam? Sam asked the question, do you think they dropped it in the car if it was tampered with? You just all you have to do there is just Sam go, "Oh, really? That doesn't sound like anything my parents would have," and just leave it at that.
Okay.
And
so even less, okay.
Even less, yeah, because you don't want to. Because if when you say that, right away the reader's going to go, somebody, this is what's going to appear. You don't want them to be thinking that. You just want them to have been told that there was this watch there, but you don't want to make it too obvious why it was there or anything.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that's one thing. The other stuff is fine. What was running through my head? It's going to be revealed that this was important by a photo, right? Or something you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm wondering if sometime before that incident, before the photo reveal, not necessarily in book 9, but maybe in one of the earlier books, he can get his hands. Does he have his hands on this stuff, the watch and the button and all that kind of stuff?
So I don't have that. I did think about that because he talks to Beaumont twice, and Beaumont mentions it. But at some point, I thought maybe he should go look at the evidence.
Right. Well, not so much.
It around.
Yeah, not so much that, but like he's just at some point. Well, the police aren't treating this as a homicide, are they?
No, they're not. Yeah. No.
So at some point, these personal effects would be given back to the family.
Oh, okay.
So he can just get a box of this stuff, and maybe in that book he could just be rifling through it and just looking at the stuff and thinking about what it is, and come across this watch again. It's that's kind of weird, this watch, and that would put his thinking about it being weird closer towards the end of the series than the front of the series.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay.
Those are some, while you were talking, those are a couple of things that occurred to me.
Yeah. And I worked really hard at this. This is what I did most of the time on Sunday while I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I was there for probably 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And I plotted 18, 19, and 20, but I also then worked on this. I worked on this for so long. Again, talking back and forth with ChatGPT and just thinking about, a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll think about whatever pro episodes I like and be like, oh, I can take something from there. Because I did do that in a couple books. But this finally, I wanted it to be something physical. And I'll talk about why in a second. So
one of the reasons why I even mentioned that in terms of what you did in book 2 and how you might want to tone it down a little bit is I have this exact same problem.
Yes.
I put in clues and then but I'm too obvious about the clues. And I make them too obvious to the reader. And when I go back and edit, I can see that. I go, oh, I can't do this. It's just like, waving a Chekhov's gun around and saying, look at this. And you don't want to be quite that obvious about it.
I think I even said to ChatGPT, I said, if this was TV or movie, this would be easy. I could just have it on the screen, but not bring it up.
Right.
I have to have the character mentioned.
Right. But one of the problems, especially when I know lots of authors talk about books as being equivalent to movies, the storytelling is the same. But the problem is with a movie, even like with a Poirot or even with a mini series, the amount of time that the viewer spends watching it is so much shorter than the amount of time that a reader is going to take reading through the series. So you have to kind of you got to be careful about how you pace it out and how obvious you make things look, because you don't want them to think, oh, well, I know what's going to happen, and then stop reading the series. You want to make it a mystery to them as well, as much as you can.
Yeah, I find this is the very hardest part of writing a mystery.
Yeah, it is.
Because then I decided to do it twice, which was silly. So Sunday after I was done, I went home. I think I played my football game again last night, and then got up this morning for work. At lunch, I had 2 chapters left, 21 and 22. Then I realized that 23 didn't mean anything anymore, so I just deleted it completely and just said I'm going to go from 22 right into my second pinch point from there. But my biggest fear about this watch thing is that I don't know if I like the idea of it being over. Actually, I do like it. I don't know if the reader's going to like it. And you're saying they will. I think I agree with you. I'm rolling around in my head. And I decided, well, let's put a concrete clue into this book also. Something he can use along with the watch. And I said, well, it doesn't have to be concrete. Let's make it circumstantial. A couple circumstantial things that can be in this book that kind of, you go with that, then you got the watch. Boom, there's your proof. That's kind of how I'm doing it. So spent a lot of time at lunch dealing with that. I wrote I plotted chapter 21. Then I started working on what I wanted that clue to be. I really hit it. I hit upon what I wanted to be. Again, those photos are a big deal. And they're photos that there's a good reason that they're there. Photos of the actual criminal syndicate, I'm going to call it that, all together in one room every day or every night for some period of time. It's because one of them is super paranoid and he wants everything on film in case he's busted.
Okay.
He doesn't make it to the end of the book. But anyway, so that's why they're there.
Probably because they found out he was filming it.
Well, there's something to that. Yeah, it's not completely right, but there's something to that. Yeah. So then I can. But what the problem is I'm on my lunch break now, so I have to do as much as I can as fast as I can. I got about part of the way through 22, and then it's 12:59. I shut my home laptop down, opened my work laptop back up, and I worked. And then right at 4:00, I shut that one. Went back to the other one, just try to get my brain where it was and type the rest of 22. So I did finish 22 about 4 hours. No, 3.5 hours ago, I finished the plotting for chapter 22, which is how I was able to complete my goal, which was nice. So it's great. And then after that, I made another burrito, heated up another burrito, and watched some TV and watched some YouTube. And now we're podcasting. And that was my week. I mean, it was a good week in terms of getting stuff done. I'm very excited because tomorrow I get to start writing again, which makes me very happy getting that plot done.
Is that what you were cooking in your air fryer or burrito?
No, I made some chicken in my air fryer because I bought some already made pasta from the grocery store earlier for dinner or for lunch tomorrow at work, and I like to put chicken on top of it when I do it. So I bought some chicken, grilled chicken, and I cooked it in there.
I keep on thinking about getting an air fryer, and then I keep on wondering if I'd really use it or not. And
I use it more than anything else, and I use it for almost everything I cook.
Yeah.
A
lot of people say that. Well, my week, like I said, I got no writing done at all. Last Thursday, I worked all day, and I was thinking, well, in between the times that I'm not dealing with patrons, I'll get some words in. The problem is although Wednesday night, as I think I mentioned, I was going to pick up the Raymond Chandler book that I had started, The Long Goodbye, and continue with that. And I did on Wednesday night. By Thursday morning, I was getting to Jones to get back into Premium Muhammad's series because I knew there were 2 more books. I had finished the Beneath the Rising, where I told you that I was a little bit dissatisfied with the ending because it broke the characters apart for seemingly not a real good reason. Well, the next book, which was called A Broken Darkness, brought them back together a year and a half later. So I picked that one up just to see how the beginning would start. And then I realized, okay, he's getting the gang back together. The band is coming back together. So I realized that right away in the first chapter, and I just got caught up in the story. And every moment I had on Thursday that I could have written, I was reading. I had to pick up the book and read, and the same thing carried through for Friday and Saturday when I was off. It was not really conducive to being outside on Friday and Saturday because there was a lot of rain, and when it wasn't raining, it was really hot. So I was either doing things like cooking, because I also cooked some chicken on Friday, and made a couple of salads that would last us for a number of days, and did some laundry. But in between all that, I was reading this book. And by Saturday evening, I had polished off the book. It was 500 pages long.
Wow.
So it was really captivating, Broken Darkness. Again, I did not like the ending.
Oh, no.
And the ending was just, it was like a super duper cliffhanger. The previous one didn't really have a cliffhanger per se. It was just that they had broken apart, and I knew there was 2 more books, so they had to get back together. So, anyways, I had powered through it in those 2 days. Sunday, it was church in the morning, so that took up until about noon, and then I decided that I really need to do something for my wife out in the yard. It wasn't going to rain, supposedly. It ultimately ended up raining. So I went out and bought some more cement and laid another 10 or 12 feet of path for her around the pond. She was having a friend come today, so I knew she kind of would like it if that was a little bit more finished than what it was. So I went ahead and did that. I nearly died. I was out there from 1 to 4. It was a blazing down sun. The heat index, I think, was like 112. I drank 3/4 of a gallon of water and Gatorade and lost 5 pounds doing that during that time I was out there. It was just dripping off the end of my nose. So I don't think I want to do that again. Although I say that all the time, and then I go ahead and do it anyways.
Wait till winter. Your winters are like our springs. So
exactly. I should do that, really. So anyways, I did that. So yesterday evening, I actually picked up the 3rd book in the series, which is called The Void Ascending. And it started off really bizarre. It started off 8 years after the previous one finished. And I don't know where it's going. It's become really, really strange. And we'll see what happens. It also is another 500-page book. So we'll see if I continue with it through the week. I'm sure I will continue with it through the week because now I got to see what the ending is. Because I know this was a trilogy. There's not going to be any more, so she got to wrap it up somehow. I'm really interested to see where she goes.
I really hope people say those things about my books.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do anything else because I was reading these books.
Yeah, and that is not unusual for me in my life. Mm-hmm. I've got a really vivid imagination, and a writer doesn't have to tell me a whole lot for me to create these worlds in my head. And those are the kind of readers I guess writers would like to have, because you just want to suggest things and then let their imaginations go wild, because that's how you capture a reader. Right. So today at the library, I have to work. In fact, it was the first day of 7 days in a row. And I didn't do any writing in between. It was really busy though, really busy up until about 2:00 when I was able to take my lunch break. I did read some more of The Void Ascending. And then when I got back, I couldn't read because it was so noisy in the library. Because today they were having the summer reading challenge party before the kids go back to school, because kids around here will start going back to school next week.
Wow.
Yeah, they go like the first week of August. Some schools start.
When do they get out?
Late May or early June. It's just a long year. Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was so. I mean, literally, it's like I think I told you last year we had bouncy castles. We had bouncy castles again. It was bouncy castle inside, bouncy castle outside. Face painters, clowns, who knows, everything. I try to not look too closely, because if you look too closely, the librarians who are in charge of all that children's stuff, they will grab you in a second and try to put you to work. In fact, one of them even came down to the reference desk and said, "Is it just you and Betty, or are there more people here?" I said, "No, it's just me and Betty." So, a couple of the other ones went home early. I think they knew what was going to happen if they stayed. Yeah.
Yeah, they all of a sudden felt a little sick.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, no writing. I did a lot of reading. I probably in total have read now about 700 pages or so since we last talked, which is a lot of reading for 5 days. And we'll see what happens this week. I really do hope to get back to the writing, and I think I will. I think I'm kind of slow. I'm not enamored with the way this third book has started off, because of the craziness involved, and we'll just see what happens. And if I continue to not be enamored, and I have done this in the past with trilogies, I just skip to the last few chapters and actually find out how it wraps up.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I find out what happens to the main characters, and I'm not so worried about what happened in terms of the story, because I'm very much a reader for characters. So
okay.
So yeah, then that was my 5 days. Busy working, busy, doing stuff around the house, and nothing new on my future running list of things to do. Although I do have to get on this planned trip to Michigan to take my mother to see my son. My son got back. He had a 2-week stint in Colorado, so he's now back in Michigan. His wife just got back this afternoon from Japan, where she was for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah. So and they are getting ready to start their semesters at the end of August. So they got to do a lot of prep work for their new classes they'll be teaching. So first week of September will be a good time to just take my mother there for a Friday night, get to show her their apartment. I'll get to see it, take them out to dinner, and then we'll do that. My wife, she doesn't want to go now. She wants to go later in the year when she can see some fall foliage and stuff. So she'll probably go in October.
All right.
And that's it.
Anything for your running list of future things to do?
No, other than planning that trip. Nope.
Nothing. Mine, I did add on to something I had in there, which was, I talked about how I was going to price my books and how I was going to bundle them and when they were to come out, things like that. The other thing that I was trying to figure out is how I was going to edit them, like what order I wanted to edit them in. I was thinking about this over the weekend, and I'm probably going to do it this way. I'm going to make small changes to book 1. I got like a couple sentences. This book's been published for 2.5 years. It's out there, but I'm going to make a couple small changes to book 1 that reference things that happen. And this is why I didn't want to publish book 2 until I was done with book 9, because there's going to be things I'm going to go back now to, right. Book 0.5 and book 2, and even a couple sentences in book 1 I'm going to change and I'm going to republish it. So then I'll do book 1 first, then I'll go back and do 1.5. This is a little 7-chapter short story. I'm going to rewrite chapter 6, and it's 7 chapters. I'll probably read through the whole thing and edit it. I'm going to definitely rewrite chapter 6, the kind of the climax scene, or the false ending scene, for that one.
Yeah, I don't understand how people who write these long-running series that 20 or 30 books, how they do it. They must have to retcon things in some way or another. But the energy it would take to try to think up how you're going to retcon it is,
especially if you don't have some kind of a Bible, story Bible handy. Because if you're writing book 21 and you're going to have a character and you don't know what they said in book 3, I mean, I feel like readers are going to be like that. The readers who are like big into the series are going to remember that way more than the writers.
Right.
And that kind of thing. So,
and not only that, but I would think after a series for that long, you would tend to want to wander away from the genre that you were writing. And in fact, I saw something about that, and I didn't investigate it because I was so busy today. But I saw something about that where somebody was complaining about Brian Sanderson's next Cosmere book has completely changed the Cosmere, and it's no longer what it used to be. So I'm gonna have to run that down and see what he's doing there.
I will say I'm not there. I'm not to where I want to change the genre. In fact, I set up the epilogue of book 9 basically has Sam in his own detective agency. He's gonna open one up. But by the time I'm done and I'm editing it over the next couple of years and releasing them all, I may want to switch to something else, and I just might leave that as the ending, and who cares? So.
Well, the nice thing about writing mysteries is that every single genre, every book has a mystery in it of some kind. There's some level of mystery. So if you start off in mystery, you can branch off into romantic mystery or suspense or urban fantasy mystery, like Jim Butcher wrote, and you can go there if you want to, and it's not so big of a leap for the readers you've already built up because it's mystery, and you just have to kind of ease them into it so that they don't see it such a big break.
One good thing about this that I've thought about this in the past is, for me, writing each one of these books, it's a different set of characters each time. You get your main character and the love interest and the friend, but for the most part, the area where the mystery is a completely different set of characters than it was in the last book and the next book. So I do get to be inventive each time, and I'm not reusing the same stuff, which I do like. So
yeah.
All right. So we'll edit, and we'll edit book 1. We'll edit book 1.5, and then I'll go through book 2. And as soon as the first chapter of book 2 is to my liking, not sent to an editor yet, but to my liking, I'll probably put it in the back of book 1.5. And then I'll republish book 1 and book 1.5 and get them out there. 1.5 will be in the back of 1 as free download, and then I'll do book 2, and as book 2 is sent to the editor, I will then start working on book 3, and then when I send book 3 to the editor, I'll start editing book 3.5, so that I can bring both of those 3 and 3.5 out at the same time, and then I'll do 4, and I'll have a 4.5 at the same time. Then I'll edit 5, 6, 7, and do 7.5, and then finally 8 and 9. That's kind of how I'm going to do this.
So you're going to put the entire 1.5 in the back of book 1?
No, just a link to it. Just it's the cookie basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, but I'm gonna wait until book 3 is out there before I actually do 0.5.
Okay.
Because I want to have, before I start really marketing this thing hard and paying for Facebook ads or free books or bargain booksy or some of those other ones. I want to have 3 books out there so that when somebody goes and downloads the book 0.5, they can go to 1, 2, and 3. They'll have 3 books to get to. I don't want to do it after book. Having 1 book or 2 books isn't enough. I want to have 3. Make a little money off that ad. If I sell a Facebook ad for $1 and somebody buys 1 book, I'm not really making anything. But if they buy 3 books, then I'm making some money, and hopefully it keeps them going into book 4 once that one comes out. So.
Right.
So that's pretty much the only change I made, was just adding in how I wanted to edit them, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with 0.5 until I started thinking about it today. And this is in reference to, remember I emailed James Blatch and just said, what should I do here? Right. And his whole thing was, you should have it ready for your 3-book, your trilogy.
Right. This is kind of a total aside here, but I had a patron come in today looking for a Frida McFadden book. And I don't know if you've heard of Frida McFadden or not. She's a big author, writes a lot of books. I've never read one. They're mysteries, but I got a feeling that there's a lot of suspense or a lot of a romance in them as well. And he was wondering how come he couldn't get the ebook. Because if you look through the Libby app, which is the electronic digital resource that the library uses, he could get audiobooks. He could get translations, he could get anything, but he couldn't get the English version ebook. And for a while there, I couldn't figure out, well, why is this? And then it suddenly dawned on me. She's in Amazon Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. Right. Yep. And so I looked it up, and yep, that's what it is. She's got an exclusivity deal with Kindle Unlimited. Given that she's such a big name author, it's probably a real deal that they gave her to have all her ebooks in there. So that's interesting, because everything you're talking about here and the way you're going to do this basically all pertains to how it's going to be in Kindle Unlimited, because you can do something completely different if you want to with the hard copies and with audio if you end up going that way. If AI audio transcription gets good enough, which I'm understanding it's getting good enough really quickly,
far off,
to be able to do the audiobook versions for you.
Yeah, and I've thought about this so many times, because I know that if you're not in KU, then you have a lot more opportunity. I think BookBub denies it, but I believe BookBub probably has a better chance of selecting you if you're not in Kindle Unlimited. I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard people kind of speculate that on other podcasts. And then other things you can do with the ebook in terms of advertising. What's it called? What's the one in Canada?
Kobo.
Kobo has like free promos and things like that they'll let you do, and some promos you can do with them if you're in there. And I like the idea of, the hardcover can still go to the library. It's like you said, the ebook can't go to the Libby app.
Right.
So. But I just think that the page reads are the better way to go here. And I don't even know what every month it seems like somebody posts in 20 books Facebook group. Back when I used to go there, I don't go there as much now, but that the rate was going down. You were getting less money for the same amount of pages. I don't know where it is now. It could be even worse.
Right.
So that's a lot of stuff I have to look into before I actually go live with book 2. But I'm most likely going to stay in KU and just be like that.
Well, and let's face it, whether people like it or not, the big readers are in Kindle Unlimited, because it cuts their costs to like almost zero per book that they read. Or $1, maybe 50 cents per book that they read during the month, because a lot of them read 20, 30 books or more per month. So I guess one way of thinking about it, and I've tossed this around too in my head, until Kindle Unlimited shows you that it is not working for you, why not try it? Because you can always take it out. So
yeah, absolutely. So okay, all right. So that's my list. In terms of my addicted to, I got to put on here the Buffalo Wild Wings crispy buffalo chicken salad. It's just like lettuce, and they put cabbage in it, but I don't like cabbage, so I get it off of there. There's onions. I don't like onions, so I get them out of there. There's blue cheese dressing and blue cheese pieces. I don't like this, so I get those out of there. So it ends up just being lettuce and tomato, and then they have these big thick chicken fingers that are buffalo dipped in buffalo sauce, and then there's ranch on there, and then I get a side of fries and dump that on top of it. And after I cut everything, it's just so good. It's so good. And I got it twice, and it's expensive, especially because it's not a lunch thing. And so it's silly for me to go there, but I like going there and paying like $25 for my meal. Because I always tip really well, because they put up with me, get me free refills for like 3 hours that I'm there. So I was tipping really well. So it ends up being like $25 for one meal for me to go there. But it's a good salad. It really is.
I think it's kind of funny, because everything you said you're taking off are the things I would get it for. The cabbage and the blue cheese and the onions.
No.
My addicted to, as I think I alluded to last week, was cherries, because I think I told you that my wife bought 10 pounds of cherries on Wednesday, and we finished the last of them yesterday. So
and you said you would.
Yeah. Yep.
There's your goal right there.
That's right. And it was good. And surprising to me, I did not have to spend all my time in the bathroom. So
there you go. So it's worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. All right. So going into this coming week now, a 7-day week here between this podcast and the next one. Tomorrow I'm in the office, and I'll be golfing in the evening. We only have 5 weeks of golf left, counting tomorrow, so only 5 weeks left. And then the following week I'm going to Vegas, so it's coming up pretty quick. At my lunch break tomorrow, I'll get back into writing the first draft of book 9, and like I said, I'll be doing it in Scrivener. So the first thing I'll do is copy my plot summary into I have a document called plot in one page, where I just put everything in this one page in Scrivener, just have it off the side for when I need it. And then I'll just start writing. I'll probably go right to chapter 2. I've already written chapter 1, although I do have some changes to 1 and 3 that I already wrote that I want to make based on all this plotting. So I'll do that. Wednesday I'll be working from home. I don't know if I'll do any writing on Wednesday. It'll probably be the day that I take off this week. And then I have nothing planned in the evening, so I'll probably play a board game of some sort for YouTube. And then Thursday I'm back in the office. I'll be writing at lunch again. Nothing in the evening except, oh yeah, Rick, I don't know if you know this, but football starts Thursday.
I heard that it was going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first week of football, and we won't have another week without it until sometime in February after the Super Bowl. We get football even preseason. I love preseason. I don't care. I love it. It's your Detroit Lions and the San Diego, or not San Diego. It should be San Diego, but the Los Angeles Chargers. It's so stupid. It's San Diego Chargers. And like I said, football every week, so I'm very excited by this.
Are they going to televise that game on ESPN or what?
Oh, it'll probably be ABC. I think ABC does.
They're going to network broadcast. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you won't. I don't think you'll see any of your starters. Maybe for a play,
right.
But I don't think you'll see any of your starters. Not in the Hall of Fame game. Actually, the Hall of Fame game takes place about a half an hour southwest of it in Canton.
Yeah.
I've never gone to it, even though it's easily driving distance. I've never actually gone to it. Friday, I'll take a half a day again. Next week is the week that I won't get my half a day, but this coming Friday, I'll take a half a day. And I'll head out to write around 11 a.m. I thought about maybe going to golf, but I think I'm going to go ahead and write instead. And I'll be home. What does that say? Oh, that's different day. Okay, yeah. So then I'll see how much I can get done. And we're back to my 1,000 words on my lunch break and 1,500 words on the days I don't have to work and I can stay out as long as I want to. So that'll be Friday. Saturday, I have a 7:32 a.m. tee time at a different course than the one I'm a member at because they have an outing, but we still want to golf. So I made a tee time at a different course. Probably be 4 of us. So I'll be home a little bit later than usual because we're starting an hour later. But I'll definitely go out afterward and get some. I'll probably be home around 1, but I'll definitely come home and get some writing done. Or probably go back out. Sunday, 6:40 a.m. tea time at the normal place. Probably just be 2 of us. So I'll get home probably by 10:30 or so, maybe 10:15. I'll probably go to Hothead again because that's where I've been going on Sundays lately, except for this past Sunday. And then I'll come home and play some of my board games and go to the grocery store and all that stuff that I do. And then next Monday, I'm back working from home, and I'll continue the writing at lunch. In terms of my goal, like I said, we're back to doing the math here. 1,000 words on the lunch breaks from work days and 1,500 words on the days where I don't work. I'm just going out to write. So you got 6 writing days between now and next Monday. That equals 7,500 words. That is a big number for me, but I can do it. I've done it before. Hopefully I can do it. I've done it before. Let me put it that way. So, yeah.
Well, my week coming up is 6 straight days of working at the library through Sunday, writing if I can in the spaces in between patrons needing me to do something for them, or if I get extended breaks out. In theory, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are when we should be fully staffed, and I should get longer breaks in the back, a couple, 2-3 hours. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. People are calling in sick. People are just bugging out because of the summertime and it's too hot to get out of their houses or whatever. Thursday, I do have a class too. I can't remember what it is. I haven't looked yet that far ahead. I think it's probably PowerPoint because that should be coming up in the rotation. So yeah, I'm just going to be trying to jam stuff in where I can. But I'm just going to stick with the 3,000 word goal. Hopefully I'll smash it. That would make me really happy. And also I'll probably by this time next week have finished the Void Ascending. And we'll see how that goes, how that thing wraps up. Wrap it up one way or the other. I'll either read it straight through or I'll just skip to the end.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. In terms of stuff to share, I know I mentioned last week I was going to talk about AI and what that's going to be doing to search. I didn't have enough time to really do a deep dive on it, but I'll give you kind of the Reader's Digest version of what I see people saying. The problem with AI and the problem it's going to pose for authors in trying to get themselves noticed is that when you do a Google search, for example, now, you probably noticed that the first thing that pops up is always the AI compilation of what it's found. And apparently people are not going beyond that. People are slowly switching over to just going that. And part of the reason for that is because all the other search results have become such trash in the way in which Google has changed its algorithms and how it's putting stuff in front of people, and not even counting the fact like the first 6 or 7 results are going to be sponsored
ads. Yep.
It may or may not have anything to do with what you're really searching for. So it's going to be authors are going to have to change strategies so that their websites, which is what Google and Amazon eventually will be pulling information from, have to become more authoritative in whatever realm that they're working in. Now, this makes a lot more sense mentally if you think about it in terms of nonfiction authors. They're going to have build up a large portfolio of information on their website about the topic that they want to be considered an expert in order for the AIs to bring their search up into the AI summary that it gives people. In terms of fiction authors, I'm not exactly sure what that means. What can you do to make your fiction be more attractive to AI if somebody is just typing in something like, give me, I would like a mystery set in New England. You may have to have on your website more information about New England as an area, New England as a where spooky things happen because you're Stephen King or whatever. I really don't know what that means, but that's kind of the rabbit hole I want to go down at some point, and to see if can kind of figure that out. Because it's one thing for Google to do this, but it's another thing if Facebook and Amazon start returning AI results that are based on what they consider to be authority or expert opinion, even if it has to do with fiction, because they don't care. At least Amazon, anyways. I'm sure Facebook doesn't either. It's going to return stuff to the reader or the person who's searching based on their own internal scrambling metrics, and it's going to try to find the best results, and it's going to consider best to have something to do with how much is on that website.
You think? Do you think that could lead to the return of blogging?
Yes, in fact, that's one of the things that the few articles I've been able to peruse have mentioned that. It is already causing a return to blogging, vlogging, and creating video content that resides on your website that addresses, certainly in the nonfiction area, addresses the certain issues that you want to become an expert in, and it's gonna spill over to the fiction realm. It's just how is it going to spill over? Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
interesting.
But as I learn more, I'll share it.
Yeah, that's great. I don't have anything to share. I still have my price list from 2 weeks on the outline, just because I don't want to delete it. I need to get it in Scrivener. I'll probably do that tomorrow.
Right. Gotta do a copy and paste.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's going to be it for the podcast. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. I think that probably wraps it up for me.
All right. Well, if you want to get in touch with me, you can email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. The website is jerryevanoff.com. Again, I'm going to dust off my Facebook author page here sooner than later. If you want to go there, it's facebook.com/jerryevanoffauthor. And I'm sure I'll be posting something up there at some point. Okay. In the next couple of months at least. I need to start. That is going to be one of those places where I can just do free advertising whenever I want. I got a pretty good following up there of people who I know will buy the book when it's ready.
Right.
So because it's like friends and family and friends of friends and family of family and all that good stuff. And then there's some readers of the book up there too who actually joined it after I released one. So I think it'll be a good place to at least get that initial sales pushed out there, even if I do a pre-order or not.
So you're just gonna have to remind everybody, including your friends and family, that you're still alive.
Yeah, who I am.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's going to be it. Yeah, what do you got, Rich?
My email address is rich@richcacy.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at Kacy himself, and I have a new life goal for Blue Sky. And that life goal is there's this woman, and man, I can't remember her handle. She writes some really interesting stuff, and she's like 40 years old, going through her early midlife crisis, works as a bartender, etc. But she does this really interesting thing every few months, and she gives away awards for what she considers the best shitposting skeets that she's seen in the last few months. So my new goal is to get one of those awards.
All right, there you go. Nice. Good to have a goal.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Good to have a goal.
All right, well, that's going to be it this week. We'll be back 1 week from today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, take care, everybody, and stay out of the heat. It'll kill you.
Yeah.